Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Card Shop. I'm the big dog. I'm here as always with my 1 year unshorn co-host, Mike Fruitman. Today my background is a place that's like a unicorn. Very few people get to experience it. Mike is one of them, and we'll talk about why he's able to experience it in a little bit. But first, Mike, I'd like to just have you talk a little bit about, with the pandemic slowly but surely coming to an end with hopefully the right medical response we have now. I think we could be in good shape in 3 to 6 months, hopefully. But what have you seen since before the holidays through now with regard to the industry and what we're seeing with product and sales?
We have not seen any slowdown at all at the shop. It is, if anything, crazier. We've got people comfortable coming in the shop. We've got the hand sani everywhere. We're making sure, obviously, everybody's wearing a mask, and we haven't had any real problems. Knock on.
Yep. Knock on wood.
Right, exactly. So, and it's funny. I get tested. I'm working for the Nuggets now,
Okay.
and
Yep.
I get tested 1 day out, and I get tested 3 days out. Yep. Yeah. Right. Oh, they're very familiar with the schnoz at Pepsi Center. Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Paul.
that brain exam is pretty rough. We went to see Jennifer's parents before Christmas, and we got tested twice over a 1 week period. And there's better things in life than having a Q-tip jammed up your nose.
Hello.
We have a special guest. I'm
We have a
Aaliyah.
special guest.
Hi, Niece.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, we're recording a podcast. You're going to be part of it now.
Oh, good.
You're
yes.
stuck now.
Yeah, you're going to have to hang out.
Great.
Yes, if I say anything Japanese, she can translate for me.
Wait,
Oh,
what?
perfect.
Yeah, exactly. The industry just
Japanese?
keeps rocking. We got through Christmas, and survived Christmas.
Yeah.
There is, you be careful what you wish for. When I open a card shop, I was hoping, geez, maybe one day I can, from start to finish, I can have folks in the shop and it'll be just crazy and people will be hanging out. And then I got it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is almost too much. Fortunately, I've got some great help. My son's there quite a bit, and we're just getting through things. But the madness has not gone away. If anything, I think it's being accentuated. People are looking for anything. We're trying to stock as much retail as we can so we can give collectors more affordable options. And then beyond that, we're just trying to keep supplies in stock. That is right now.
You've turned our house into a storage system.
I have. It's a little bit of a storage system. Thank you. You're right. So right now, supplies are just about impossible to get and or keep in stock. We had it going on with card savers, as everybody was getting every rookie card, every autograph card, every second-year card seemingly graded. Anything that had PRIZ in it was getting graded, and that is continuing. And now I've got 4 distributors I work with on a regular basis, and there are no supplies. There's no top loaders. There's no sleeves.
Yep.
Fortunately, we stock strong, and we're putting in limits so we can stretch it out. But I'm calling these guys, and there's just like no hope. So if you have a card shop near you that will sell you a case of supplies, take them up on it. Take them up on it.
People don't know this, but you and I, mainly with me doing a lot of the heavy lifting, are putting out a repack product here in about probably the next couple of weeks called the Bone Pile, Big Dog's Bone Pile. And, I'm putting every card in a one touch. And when you go through the process of that's a lot of one touches for a product. And I found myself short about 100, 130 points. And that was not as simple as going to a large site and ordering. I had to do some exploring, and they're getting some good prices for those, I can tell you, because the demand is through the roof and it's crazy. But I can't imagine having to go, I stocked up on card savers and sleeves early on, and I can't imagine trying to have to find those now, because it's nuts. And that's kind of an indicator. And I go to, and for anybody out there that wants to see how at least basketball cards are driving, and that's right now, that's the driving force in this industry, even though there's a good rookie class in football and next year's going to be crazy and baseball's okay. It's all about basketball right now, and it is out of control. And so I go to a place called Star Stock, and I look at their emerging 30 database a lot. And I can tell folks, if you want to know how the industry's gone, November 23rd, the top 30, so the top 30 valued NBA rookie cards, and they're usually the last 3 years, so 17 through 19. They had an index value of about $1,210. So one of each of them would cost you $1,210, and you can ask what kind, but it doesn't matter. As of January 11th, that same index is at $2,520. So, November 23rd, you had basketball wasn't in session, so there wasn't any hoops. So it's always out of sight, out of mind in the industry, as we constantly warn you about. But then you have this boom that's going on, and for those values to double in 2 months for no other reason than there's a game going on, and some people like Luca are going crazy despite some people's predictions that they'd fail. It's amazing, and it's an enjoyable process. So, folks, it's hot, and Mike, I go into his shop a lot, and I was in last weekend, and at one time in his life, he had an entire row that was nothing but basketball, end to end, and now he has to. It's kind of like when you had to eat peas when you were young, and you'd try to pretend like you ate the peas. So you'd take the peas you had and you'd spread them around your plate to make them look like there were fewer of them. Well,
Yes.
Mike has to do the same thing in reverse to make the little NBA product he can carry look like it's a lot on the shelves. So it's a hell of a challenge.
It's really tough. I mean, it's part of it's everything you hope for until you get it. Trying to keep it in stock, trying to find it at distributors right now
Yeah.
is really difficult. These distributors, there's no magic trail of basketball for them to just land. So very often they're going back in the market and they're reacquiring it,
Right.
and or just going in the back. I don't know. I mean, they tell me they're reacquiring it, so obviously that's the truth. And nobody's giving it to them for cheap, so they've got to pass along as well. One of the saving graces is I like ordering stuff on a Thursday, which, all right, so the reason I like ordering stuff on a Thursday is I don't have any local distributors. So it always takes minimum 2 days, probably 3 days, and then you throw on the two for the weekend. So typically by the time I order something on a Thursday and it shows up on Monday or Tuesday, at least the prices have settled where I can actually put it out and make 8-10%.
Right.
And it's kind of weird. But that's typically what's going on. And we're seeing that with football also as well. I spent the last week just stocking all the baseball and hockey I could. I like to
Right.
zag when everybody's zigging.
Right.
You had everybody going this weekend, come Monday. Everybody's looking for 2018 football, and we still have a little bit on our shelves, not an awful lot.
Yep.
I still have
Baker
some
won a
cases.
playoff game. Lamar Jackson won a playoff game. Duck your head.
Hey, and Josh Allen now
Yeah.
America's
Yeah.
hero seemingly. The Bills have a very rabid fan base, and
They
when
do.
they're playing, even when they're playing bad, they sell well.
Yep.
But when they're playing great like this, I mean, people are just jumping in with both feet. We posted some Josh Allens we found, and I got to check my thread. I think they may all be gone. We're putting singles out obviously in the shop, but we're using social media and we're putting them out there, and we're seeing very strong responses, not only in our singles night, which is a weekly feed, but also whenever we're just, when something walks in, we're posting it and sharing it with
Yep.
the world, and seeing the same type of responses. I was looking at a popular internet retailer's website Sunday night. So you had the Steelers and Browns game, and I looked at that point, and they had National Treasures from 2018 football at 19,000. So the next morning I woke up and I was like, man, let's see if they made an adjustment. And sure as stuff, it was a $29,000, $10,000 bump overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's funny because as someone who busted a lot of National Treasures in 18, I'm talking in cases, I wasn't even spending $3,000 a box. I mean, it was well below that at that point for both basketball and football. You think about that today, and it's beyond belief. You've got you're proud owner of a 2003 Exquisite box, which is quite nice. I think you're still a proud owner of a case of 2018 Prism Hobby Basketball, correct?
You're not wrong.
Yep. So, so when you think about that, I had a case and I sold it a while back and I made a pretty nice penny, but just give me rough order of magnitude what that case of Prism would go for today if you were to find one and have to sell it.
So I actually do check this on a regular basis. Not that I'm going to do anything with it, but it is kind of fun. Earlier this year, we had some folks who came through. They were driving through, and they were looking for product. They came in the store, and they just wanted to buy and buy and buy. So one of the things they said, if you have any 18-19 basketball, they looked at the shelf, and I didn't have any really on the wall.
Right.
So yeah, I got a case of Hobby 18-19. And at that point, they're like, what do you want for it? And I looked on DealerNet. I think my restock price was 17, so I may have said 18, 19, whatever it was. And they weren't able to commit to it. I think this was in May.
Yeah.
And checking the numbers right now, the DealerNet buys on that case are $70,000.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, I fortunately, Sean, you did a lot of playing. You broke a lot of product. But one of the things I shared with you early on was my methodology, which is keep it sealed. At that point, you're banking on everybody in the product, not just one player.
Yeah.
So, fortunately, you've done well with it.
Yeah.
One of my collectors came in the other day, and they brought in 2 boxes of 1920 Prism Jumbo that they had bought day one. I think I was probably at $399, and they pretty much got a tenfold return on that.
Yeah.
In literally a year and a month.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've told people all along, there's the joy of it. If you're a gambler, then opening product is what you do. It scratches your itch. I've got the gambler part, but I also held some wax because I'm also an investor and I do both things. And quite honestly, unless you're just a buffoon, there's no way you aren't making money on product right now. Now, I'll tell you, 18 was the last year where you could get in cheap. So the breaks back then, and I bird dog the yields pretty high. Those yields were reasonable. And then the appreciation you were seeing week to week, like I said, doubled from November to January. Those kind of appreciations took all the risk out of opening a pack of product. Now, with the entry points on Prism being thousands of dollars, and the entry point on, what's a National Treasures box is what, $6,000, and then Eminence was 25,000 list, and it's over 30 now. It's an impossibility, other than if you just get lucky, to make any money off of that type of a play. And it's a hard go. And I don't know how people are doing it. I got lucky because I started at the right date on the real big accumulation. But I think people have to really think about what they're trying to do. And you're right. Get wax early and sit on it. If you just want to flip it, waiting 30 days for any NBA wax issuances is free money. I bought, we joked the other day about NBA Hoops premium stock, and I bought a case of it. And I think my entry point on that case, I think it was in the 200 to 225 range. And right now, I think, what is it, $450, $400 for that same product?
I'm looking at a case I shipped off to somebody a little bit ago for $5,400, and now that same case is being bought for about $8,000.
Yeah.
And that's a product that's got no history to it. Obviously, the hoops part of it does, and the fact that it's a higher end version of hoops, it's kind of grandfathered in as already being cool.
Yeah.
But the responses are just incredible. And here's where it gets funky. 3 months ago, people couldn't poo-poo on the 2021 basketball rookies enough.
Yep.
It was going to be the worst rookie class ever. I mean,
Yep.
we're talking like Dwayne Shinsis, we're talking like Derek Coleman, just horrible flops. And now Hoops is coming out on February 3rd, and the interest level is very strong. Somebody came in today and they wanted to line up a case of Prism, and I haven't even been solicited Prism, and he's trying to line it up. And what's the price? I'm like, I don't know how to quote you on that. We're so far out that I don't know. I mean, what is LaMelo going to have? 5 more triple doubles? He's going to have 6. Or some of these other guys going to become household names by that point. And trying to line that up. It's people are already sniffing around for it.
Yeah, and so that's an interesting phenomenon, because I think this class didn't benefit from a March Madness where people's names got to be household names. It didn't benefit from a summer league where the games are being televised and people got a sneak peek at them. They're not benefiting from a full training camp, all these things. And so, there probably is a buying opportunity on wax, both in terms of the big dog method, which was to rip the crap out of it and leverage your singles and see what you can play out. But also, wax, as always, wax is going to have value. Now, I think that class, it's probably 6 months lagged on its maturity versus what it could have been if it had summer league, et cetera. But so you might have an opportunity to take advantage of that lag. So if you're out there, getting in some wax, you're going to be able to get 2020, 2021 basketball class wax a lot cheaper than you got 18, 19, and 19, 20. Take advantage of it if you can. So to pivot a little bit, Mike, I play around in the high end stuff and the stratosphere. And just one of the big boys had a post on one of their Facebook pages not too long ago and said, "Hey, if you get what are you going to do? Are you going to buy cards with your stimulus money?" And this was this recent wave of stimulus, and there were people saying, "Yes, yes, it's too expensive, etc." And I made a comment, and I said, if you're spending stimulus money on cards, your priorities are screwed up. Because if you're getting a stimulus check, you probably should be spending it on necessities and not on this. And there was the blowback you'd expect. But one of the people said, people like me and people who chase high-end cards were the reason that the product is unaffordable. And I kind of said, I'm not sure you can ascribe my desire to buy national treasures and opulence to the average Joe on the street that wants to get an entry point box for $100 or $200. I said, that's more general supply and demand. I mean, everybody's water has risen, not just the crazies like me that like the high end stuff. So, my question to you is, what are kids coming in and trying to buy, and what are they doing in your shop? Because, that's going to be who's going to be buying cards in 15 years.
We're doing our best to offer as much retail as possible. We've got folks who I do not shop at Target and Walmart aside from necessities. I don't go in there looking for cards. We have a lot of people who bring it to us. So we're looking at offering those as low as possible. We're offering a lot more of our products whenever we can by the pack to give people that option instead of spending. Perfect example. We had a 2019 Optic football box. So I handed somebody the other day, they wanted it, and we were looking at $450 on it. And Kyler Murray's still popular. Season's over, but still, he showed enough. And unfortunately, I didn't realize it at the time. One of the corners of the box wasn't perfect, so he wasn't going to be buying. I said, "Look, you want to buy some packs?" So here's a box that'd probably been on my shelf for a month or two, perhaps. That we busted open and people saw that immediately. So he bought 4, 3 here, 2 there, 4 there.
Yeah.
And at $25 a whack, we were out of that thing in a day and a half. And it reminded me that, I've got to look at giving people more affordable options. So we've got a good run came in today of restocks. So I'll have Phoenix by the pack for football. We went out and bought a bunch of retail basketball just so I could offer that as well. Panini actually did a really cool thing. They sold us a bunch of the feeder gravity packs for 1920 Absolute, and I could have put those out immediately at $5, $8, $9, $10 a pack. And the fact that it's 1920 rolled out of it, so we actually kept. I think there were 5 boxes that we got in. They're still on the shelf, and we will offer those up only to kids. Those are $4 a pack, which I know is not their original price, but it's as affordable as I think we can make it. And we have a 2-pack limit. So literally for like the last month, we've had those up there, and we're trickling through them for people who see them. But we have adults who want to buy them. And I'm like, look, I'm sorry. Literally, we have a sign that says it's kids only. And we have people remind us that they have a parent and they are indeed a child. And they have somebody else's kid. And, we're just making sure that we keep those around as an effort to make sure that kids have an option. We've also expanded our single cards. So we're trying to balance out between, obviously we've got the display cases, those have been a go the entire time. But we've recently come up with a section that's organized by team for baseball, basketball, and football. And everything in there is $10 or less. So we've got the hand sandy set over there, and kids can go through there. And we've got a lot of stuff that we're putting in there at $1. It's all name cards, lots of inserts, parallels, rookies. We're focusing on that as a way that kids can still get in there and collect without breaking the bank.
Right. Yeah. And, there's sadly, there's a reason that there's music played of a certain sound from slot machines in a casino. It's because it resonates and it creates a draw, and it literally causes your adrenaline to rise. And there is, the same thing can be said of opening a pack of cards. So buying singles of the player that you might like is a joy. But I will tell you, there are people, once they open a pack of cards, they never stop and they get hooked. And so there has to be an opportunity. And again, I don't want to have a bunch of addicted kids to cards, but I'm one of them, and I have been my whole life. And it feels like there's a lot of adults who are tainting the accessibility for kids. And look, I know you buy retail from other people. You don't go to Target and basket hang, but I'd really like, if you're willing, I'd really like your opinion on people who do that. The guy, the 35-year-old, 40-year-old man that stands outside of Target waiting for the restock. Then he goes in and buys every damn retail box in there. I mean, what do you think of that?
I've got mixed feelings about it. We've got a lot of people who right now are between the ability to work, who are looking to maintain their lifestyle. They've got families, and they are able to go in there. They're able to buy things for $10 and sell them to me for 20. They're able to buy them for 20 and sell them to me for 30. And that's becoming their new things. One of our guys happens to be a beverage vendor, and he's
Sure.
not working at the
Yeah.
stadiums right now. And this is one thing he's doing. And how do I tell a guy who's willing to invest the time? And he does it in a nice way. He's not one of those threatening folks. I'm reading Facebook quite a bit, and I'm seeing the horror stories, the fights breaking out.
Yeah.
The stores responding by putting basically everything under lock and key. And I don't know that that's a bad thing for the stores to be doing, to spread it out. I mean, you're going to have, I'm envisioning somebody showing up with like minivans and hiring
Yeah.
like kids to sit around with them all day.
Yeah.
So, okay, Johnny gets 2, Bobby gets 2, Mark gets 2. We're going to clean this whole store out 2 at a time. I keep thinking of the woman from The Simpsons who keeps going, but what about the children? And the kids are going to find a way to collect. And Topps makes a product. It's big league. They make opening day. They make $2 packs, and the kids know if they buy a $2 pack, they're not going to get an autograph very frequently. So the kids aren't looking for $2 packs. They know, obviously not necessarily they're going to land some NT or something along those lines. But the kids know where the good stuff is, and that's what they want. They want Prism Optics, Select, Mosaic, Chrome. And by virtue of being able to offer blaster boxes whenever possible, I haven't done it yet, but I may start breaking open blasters and selling them by the pack, just to give people another option. I mean, it's one of the things that the last year has afforded me as a shop owner, and afforded most shop owners, is we can now make decisions that aren't predicated on money. We can make decisions, and I imagine we always have. It's based on right and wrong, where I don't have to do things and squeeze every, sorry, I didn't get the graphic on there. There you go, squeeze every dollar out of every single product. We can look things differently. I'm trying to make a point when releases come out, like Bowman's Best baseball. It's now in the 250 range. I think when it came out, we were doing boxes of 189 when all the online guys were 199 or 209. And I know that's not necessarily a price that is going to work for kids. Fortunately, though, my allocations with Topps being direct are really sizable. When there's a release, like I just ordered Finest, and I think I was able to get 7 cases direct. That's before my distributors and everybody else. So we're able to do things more so with that. I mean, with Panini, a lot of times I'm very lucky. I'm able to get 1 case, 2 cases directly. And I'm trying to find opportunities to when I get a distributor's lists, when I'm comparing them, the first thing I'm looking for is the most affordable. What blasters do they have? I mean, I love 2020 Donruss blasters. I love 2019 the Donruss football blasters. I like 2017 Diamond Kings. But those products are becoming really hard to acquire. I've got a distributor in Texas, and I'm able to look at his list, and I can go through every product he has in about a minute to a minute and a half, and I'm through with that sheet. And that's something that used to take me much more time to do.
Right.
Sometimes I'm looking at other distributor sheets, and simply based upon cost, I'm able to eliminate things right away. Tomorrow, Playbook Football comes out, and I've got a number of cases coming in. Fortunately, 1 direct, others through other distributors. And somebody hit me up today, and they said, "Hey, can you line me up a case?" Which I really want to do. I want to come through for them. But at the same time, it's just not. In the past, I would call a distributor, and they'd be begging for me to take. You want another case? That's awesome. Let's do it. So I called or got a hold of 3 distributors today, and so Panini's coming out at $395 or so, $395, $399, somewhere in that range. And I think online guys are at the $475 mark on it. I found one distributor who would sell me product below $300. I found me another one. I'm sorry, above 300, below 400.
Right.
Found another distributor who was at 425, and another distributor wouldn't give me pricing until Monday, which is a pretty common occurrence. They want to see
Right.
where the product is and reassess.
Yeah.
And they're still selling me product at similar to cost or at cost in terms of how things used to be. But they want to reassess things on Monday and really see where the Monday prices are. And I can't get angry at that. It's their product. It's not like they signed a sheet that said you must sell.
Right.
If we're going to sell you 100 cases, you must disperse 100 cases immediately. Or if they did, I'd like to know about that.
Yeah.
So it's as a shop owner, it's encouraging, it's frustrating, it's really a giant ball, and I don't. It's great. It's also frustrating. It's all these many things at the same time. I mean, bear in mind you're talking to somebody who's been at this since December of '92. There were times where making 20 points on a product was an
Yeah.
accomplishment. So this is in part a little bit of a balance for some of those lean years. This is going to allow,
Yeah.
if everything flips tomorrow, card shops are in a position to outlast this. So I think it's healthy and it's unhealthy at the same time. I can't point and say, look, the guy who's at Target and Walmart, it's a number of things at the same time.
Yeah. So we've got, we're dealing with a lot of variables in the world around all this stuff. And, I look at you guys that run LCSs especially, and then I think the breakers as well. I mean, you guys are a little bit like farmers, right? I mean, you're going to have good years and there's going to be drought some years. And the longer a farmer's been in business, everything else been equal, the more likely he is to make it to the next year because he's been through it. And so he knows how to tighten his belt when it's good, just like he does when it's bad, because he knows he needs that balance to get through. I think the prudent people are going to do that. Obviously you're going to be one of those people. And I think you'll probably just have stronger reserves than you've had in the past. And I think more will survive the inevitable down that will come. And we don't know what it will be based on. We thought a pandemic would hurt the market. Well, that was wrong. We thought a bad draft class or a weaker draft class, not bad, but weaker draft class would hurt the market. Well, that's also not necessarily true. So I think that it's here to stay. It's very exciting. But when you look at, the manufacturers and where they're going, obviously, like NBA Hoops premium stock comes out, they reissued Eminence this year. They're finding they have all these hybrid and all this stuff to try to add product to the market. What do you think goes on with allocations and your availability of product from the manufacturer directly? How's that gone over the last couple of years?
With Panini, it's actually maintained, and actually, I would say it's maintained with everybody else. If you with Upper Deck, it's based upon your spend. So you have to, there's 3 classifications, I believe, and as long as your overall spend puts you at the top, then you're going to get top allocations or second or third. With Tops, my numbers are as I'm able to get the same amount of product, I believe, and I believe, and I don't know why I'm able to get it. It's not like, okay, well, if you spend 100,000, you're at this plateau, second or third plateau. However, my spend, and these days, it's not just the baseball spend with Tops. If you're not buying Star Wars, if you're not buying racing, if you're not buying soccer, you're missing out. There are people
Right.
who are looking for those products, and everything you order across the board simply helps your spend. Again, I found out the other day I was able to get 7 cases of the Topps Finest Baseball, and that's going to be great because I can devote some of that product once it hits to my collectors at a lower price. Even though it's going to have a Joe Adell rookie, all the other holdover rookies from last year, I know I'm going to be able to take care of my collectors at a lower price. With Panini, most of the time I'm able to get 1 case. Oftentimes I'm able to get a second case. They're offering a little bit of retail as well. The hybrid is a great option because it's something I can offer my collectors at a lower price when they're buying Select or Prism, the draft. So I would love to see more hybrid products coming out,
Right.
and not just of the Prism or Select. I mean, you can make hybrid of anything right now.
Right.
The biggest challenge is those guys getting print time, from what I believe,
Yeah.
to make these releases.
Yeah.
We had a month and a half of standstill. Right now, I'm sure that their runs for retail are incredibly strong. However, if you look at like Topps Heritage High Numbers, a product you would never look at, they eliminated the retail portion of that was going to be in Target and Walmart and they simply eliminated that as a retail offering. And I'm sure that if they could have run the presses, they would have let them go for as long as it took to do that. So they're in part sacrificing the money, but in the same regard, they can't do more.
Right.
Now that every single product is tied to, if it's a box of Prism, it's one autograph, it's two autographs, whether regardless of the flavor. They can't simply go out like it's 1988 and say, "Hey, give me another 50 trees. Let's make another 50 cases."
Yeah. So so you haven't seen, like, I've heard others talk about their allocations getting trimmed, et cetera. When people are speaking that way, are they speaking more to distributors and availability and that kind of play, or have you seen the manufacturers trim your availability as well?
So far, it hasn't happened on the manufacturer level, and I think it's just you have to learn how to play the game. It's somebody
Yeah.
else's music. I got to dance to it. The biggest thing that shops need to learn is that, so it's based upon spend essentially through the distributors, and I'm lumping them all together, and it's not specific. They approach it differently. However, it's not based upon your initial spend. Sure, if you're going to let me buy 2 cases of Prism football, that's great, but I don't get any credit for doing that. It's when I go back and purchase more that's the determinant for
Right.
allocations.
Right.
Because everybody, of course, is going to take their initial one or two, whatever it is. It's how you're rebuying. So
Right.
if you're, let's just give out the secrets here. If you're a smart shop, I would look at literally breaking even on case breaks,
Yeah.
just to maintain or increase your spend.
Yeah.
The one distributor, when it came to Panini Prism football, they offered cases at $12,000. So you're able to buy whatever they allocated you initially, and then they would say, okay, let's, who wants more at $12,000 a case? And I mean, that's what I'm selling it for. I'm selling it for $1,000 a box. How do I buy more? And the answer is, I'm going to break even on 4 cases of Prism basketball football, essentially. And the hope is that that turns into greater allocations on Contenders Playbook National Treasures,
Sure.
where the breaking even is a part of it, but it's balanced out on the backside.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, this is, if anybody that has any kind of economics background looks at this as it's a complete supply demand imbalance. I mean, we've got, between printer time and pandemic availability and the limits on players and the number of things they'll sign and everything else, there's a reasoned constraint on the production of product of any kind of a premium level, either through serialization or through higher in value product. But the demand is infinitely growing at the same time. So what happens in those cases is the price goes up. It's just reality. And, someday they'll figure out either all this stuff is, like the card to 99, the card to 25, the card to 10, and the card to 1. That's all one series. So why am I really looking at the number? They're all one thing, and the demand might soften a little bit. But there's not some magic hat unless there's some expansion that adds printing capacity, which no one would want to do, because the minute the market goes to hell, they're stuck with a fixed investment. All these things can happen. And so, I feel like this scarcity isn't going away. And I think there's a far cry between the demand softening and the market softening, because softer demand wouldn't get noticed because there's too much demand today. I mean, there's unmet demand. I mean, how many times does someone walk out of your shop empty-handed, other than when they're just looking,
Right.
and kind of say, "Man, what I want, you don't have."
There's a lot of people walk out of the store with products that they didn't come in to purchase necessarily.
Right? They came in to purchase something else, and you don't have it.
Right. Everybody would love to buy Prism basketball right now, and I'll sell you a
Right.
box of Prism basketball. I'll sell you a box for $4,500. It's not a problem. I'll walk it out to your car for you. However, the amount of people who can walk out of the store with that box, it's a small amount. So, I mean, I want to have products like Hoops. I want to have even Absolute, which is like a $600 box. Illusions at $599. I want to have the options for people, and a lot of times, yes, they're doing that. The best thing we had this year is that they were able to get Prism Draft basketball out, so that it was able to provide people an opportunity to
Yeah.
walk out of the stop with either a blaster or a mega box at under $100, Whereas you can't do that. I think last year's blasters for Prism are, I think I saw them the other day. It was $3.99, $4.99 for a blaster. It was incredible. I mean, the day it came out, I sold somebody a case for $600. And at $30 a box. Oh, to do that one over again.
It's crazy.
And so it's great to, from a shop owner's perspective, to be able to have things that I could offer at the lower prices. That way everybody got something for Christmas this year. And the people who are buying the 2021 basketball, I think you're just buying a great product early right now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to overhype it. Is there a Zion or Ja yet? No, not necessarily.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen, we've gone so many years since there was a Zion. Was there a Zion in 18-19? No, I mean, there was a Luka. You know, is 16-17. Hey, if you have any 16-17 product with Pascal Siakam, Buddy Hield, and Jamal Murray, no problem. I'll give it a very good home.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, you know, it's an amazing time, and it's just, I don't know how to put words to what we're seeing. I do think that there'll be an end to the climb, because there always is, but I don't necessarily think that into the climb means a decline. I think there will just be, it'll get to a point and it just can't go any further, because the market will saturate out and the capacity will be used up. But I don't think we're there yet. And we're seeing new investors who are looking at, you know, sports collectibles, cards specifically, as a fundamental part of their portfolio, much like they look at real estate, et cetera. So it's a pretty amazing thing. I've got a friend who plays in this market, and he monetized a big piece of his collection, and he's paying off his mortgage, and he's building a pool for his house. I mean, you think about that. A hobby is, I mean, the stuff that I've done, we're looking at potentially buying property in Mexico. I mean, and it basically off of the back of the stuff that I'm able to sell from busting cards. It's an amazing time. It's not going to be here forever. But I think what I can tell you, and you've said this, and I think you continually say it, other people in the industry who you are friends with say the same thing. They say, buy it, don't open it, sit on it, and sell it. Buy it, don't open it, sit on it, and sell it. I can tell you that I get involved. A lot of your other card people have pre-sales, and there's limits to how many you can buy, but I will tell people, anybody who listens to this, if you are not buying every pre-sale you can find and sticking it in your closet, you're out of your mind. Most cases, you could go get a pre-sale from a card distributor or something, put it in your closet, and a month later, that card distributor would buy that same pre-sale product back from you for more than you paid. Almost every time. Think about what Mike just told you. A lot of this stuff is about how much you buy. And the more a distributor buys, the more they get. So you're in the same boat. You're helping them buy more by getting a pre-sale, because then they work their commit. So there's a big play there. So anybody, that's the number one game in the industry, is if you buy wax and put it away right now, it's worth something. I mean, NBA hoops, the lowest entry point product in basketball. What was the initial entry point, Mike?
Oh, last year we were 18-19. We were selling boxes day one at $99.
And what does it sell for now?
I sold out at $400, thinking that's crazy, would never go higher. I don't look at that product right now because it hurts me to do it. And then secondarily, I don't have access to it. I'm not sitting on 3 cases in the back. So I don't know. I would switch on DealerNet right now and tell you, but I'm a little bit occupied. But you know, if you look online, sure, you'll see it. And I mean, I'm sure the blaster. Well, in fact, I know the blasters are over $100, well ahead of where the 18 or the 1920 boxes were. And I haven't looked at this year's to kind of do it. I don't do pre-sales.
Right.
We've got a lot of folks who want to do pre-sales for exactly what you mentioned. They want to lock in the price, guarantee themselves the product. Fortunately, we've got good enough allocations where we're not selling out on the first day. So we have a very small amount of people who want to do pre-sales with us. Most know when they ask, I'm going to say no. And then most everybody else has the comfort level to know that when I send the email that a product's there, is yes, come by, don't wait forever.
Yeah.
But if you're going to wait, it's not going to kill you.
Yeah. And that's the game. I mean, look, even at your local card shop, the day a product comes out is the cheapest it will be. Because you know how this works. I mean, you'll tell people all the time, you the first thing you look at when you get product in is what you're going to have to rebuy it for.
Yeah.
And that generally sets your price because you've got to figure out what you got to rebuy it for. And so people, it's never gonna, if you think of all the dynamics we're talking about, wax is only going up. When would you buy wax in that case? As early as possible. So
Right.
even if you go out the day something releases and buy the wax, don't rip it, take it home, put it away. Almost without fail, you have an appreciating asset that in 1 month has value to you beyond your investment. A box of NBA hoops had a 4-fold increase in value in 2 years. There is not much you can do that would compare to that from an investing standpoint. So guys, I'm a ripper. I've admitted it. I've also got a portfolio of wax that I bought and have sold. Buying wax is the surest thing in the freaking industry now. It'll change, but right now it's a surest thing you got.
I got a
So,
call today with one of my distributors, and we were talking, and we were, I was doing some pre-orders and lining up some stuff, and we had to stop and think, was there a single product this year, any sport? And I think we should have just looked at anything from anything made. We couldn't think of a product that had dropped in price. And there's a lot of products. I don't want to pick on a release because actually I really like this one, but Topps Archives Baseball. It's a product that I love. I think it delivers great value, but it's usually one where by the time Christmas comes around, it might be something that we're suggesting to people
Yeah.
because we're able to offer it for less, restock it
Right.
for less. But even a product like that, and again, it's a great product. Even a product like that it's maintained if not done well.
Right.
There's nothing that's failed, and you brought it up that this will not last forever at this plateau, but there are always going to be people collecting cards. People were collecting cards 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. It's, before Gary Vee said collect cards, I wasn't sitting there on the street in a clown suit with a big sign saying, "Hey, sports cards over here, come on over." We were still busy.
Yeah.
And there's I hope there are always going to be that base level of collectors. And now we've been able to introduce ourselves to so many other folks. We've got so many kids who are now recording their breaks. They're doing them online,
Mhm.
and we've got Blake's Pax Breaks. He's doing it on a very irregular basis. A lot of kids are stepping up, and they're having fun with it. They see what the Rich Laytons of the worlds are doing, and
Yeah.
I guess they think they want a piece of it, but in the same regard, they just enjoy having people watch their breaks.
Yeah.
We've got a whole generation that has now found the acceptance of sports cards. And what we're looking at, the people who got back into sports cards, the people who went to their basements, went to their attics, who were collecting 20 years ago. And even though it kind of ended on perhaps a sour note, found a lot of cards now that they're very glad that their parents or wives didn't throw away. And a lot of those folks are the mainstream guys who are coming in day after day,
Yeah.
and enjoying the shop. We've got a whole generation who has found cards. Topps does a great job. They've got the Topps of Class program. Panini is working on a kids rollout program where they're going to devote product to a box that's going to be more affordable. I think that they're talking about putting some extra things in there in terms of collecting. Ultra Pro came out with a kids event. We hosted it right when COVID began. It was such a great event, and I haven't heard of them doing another one. We had, I believe, 30 kids in the store. It was
Yeah.
packed. We spent over an hour with Blake's Pax Breaks there, and we spent an hour talking about the fun of collecting. We gave them all the experience, and they walked out of there, to Ultra Pro's credit, with just a great selection, a huge starter kit, and the whole thing was free. It's my hope that we'll see that coming back after
Right.
when we can start having groups again. But we have this whole next generation that we don't have to worry about introducing them to cards. I mean, I've got so many people on my Facebook page, my personal page, not the shop, who I went to high school with, and they're like, they're like, "Wow, you did this in high school," and they kind of poo-pooed it, like, "Oh,
Yeah.
look at
Yeah.
this guy over here. He's
Yeah. It's
working
like
with
the kid that mowed
college."
lawns that has a landscaping company now, right? It's like, hey, I loved it and I'm still doing it. I mean, it's a living.
Sam jokes that it's no longer embarrassing to tell his friends what his dad does.
Yeah. So, Mike, the last thing I want to talk about tonight, just, we had a couple other topics, but we'll save them for another show. There have been various times where you have jousted with a select group of brothers on online, and they tend to like to take advantage of the fact that you have a second job that you have as a way of saying that you have to do that because you can't make any money as an LCS and an
Yeah.
owner. So I'd like to just talk to you briefly about you and I met through a mutual friend, but we also met because I'm a Nugget season ticket holder. My seats are the view you have behind you here. And where I enter, I walk right by you every night. We say hi. And I want you to share with people just why is it that you work the security that you work, because you're a successful guy in the industry. Why do you do that?
I'm a concert addict, or at least I was a concert addict. And
When
then I
they
learned that I
existed.
was, yeah, exactly. I've been going through withdrawal here. So I'm a concert addict, and then I evolved into also a sports addict. I grew up in Miami, and I would spend a lot of my time at the Hollywood Sportatorium, which is no longer with us, the Orange Bowl, the James L. Knight Center, and pretty much any place you could find a band. And I got into it, and then moved to Colorado in '87. And I camped out. I was that guy back in the day we used to camp out who had the
Oh yeah.
list at the wherever they were selling
That guy,
tickets.
wherever Ticketmaster was. Yep.
Yes. So yes, exactly. So I was first in line. Springsteen announced the date at a McNichols, and I was the ticket master. I had the list. You had to show up every couple hours and check in, and at that point, like 2 a.m, you had to camp out. Everybody was going to do it anyway, and then ended up getting the first four seats. I ended up getting
Yeah.
row one, seat 1 through 4, and I did the most non-Bruce Springsteen thing possible. I sold them, and ended up going to the 15th row because I put my buddies down at spot number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it was, and yes, I scalped Bruce Springsteen tickets. That's the reason I go to hell, nothing else. So. I had these great seats. I was 15th row, Springsteen 3-hour marathon show, and I'm watching this usher bebop up and down the center aisle, and I'm realizing, wait a second, I had to camp out. He's getting paid. I had to pay for parking. I'm pretty sure he's getting free parking. And whatever I'm eating, whatever I'm drinking, I got to buy, and he's probably getting a kick. I'm thinking, all right, I got to talk to this guy. So,
And if he gets involved with a drunk, he gets to punch him in the face with no repercussions. If you do, it's going to come right back on you, and he's going to get you too.
You're very right, and this was 1988, so there were no camera phones, which I'm not really a big fan of, actually. But so I said, hey, how do I get your job? And I was quickly told I couldn't have his job, but here's where I could apply. And that was literally the spring of '88. So I've been working concerts and Nuggets games since that point. For whatever reason, the company has seen fit to promote me, and I'm at the management level when I'm running events. And it's great because I get to train the staff. I get to walk around. I'm not tied down. So if there's a meet and greet, if there's a artist event, if there's whatever, I'm not tied to a spot. So I get to assist with that. And fast forward to the 2021 basketball season, I'm the floor manager. And in spite of there not being any fans in the venue, I get paid to go see the Nuggets games right now. It's working. And there's still ways that I'm able to find that I'm able to contribute. But there's 125 people in the building now. That includes players, coaches, training staff, video, stat crew,
Altitude, all the people who are there. Yep.
medical, the maintenance folks, the
Yep.
engineers, and I'm one of 125 people who get to be inside the building. I got a story about Tim Connolly for you in a second, but it's an incredible opportunity to be part of it. And
Right.
I'm a clapping group of one as the players run to the court. And it's nice to let them know that at least there's fans there, or a fan. So in my right, there's a section filled with the Nuggets executives and the other the
Right.
folks who help pull the strings and make the things happen. And I get to be part of it. It's a really surreal experience. Not checking tickets for the folks who get to go to Club Lexus, not helping people to their seat, not looking in the stands for fights or paper
Right.
airplanes or whatever's going on. But now, I get the privilege, and it's really a privilege, because I mean, in theory, they could do this without me or with fewer of us. And I get to be one of 125 people who get to watch a Nugget game. It's insane. I'm getting very spoiled by it, And now I know why you like your seat so much now that I have to watch the game. I'm still about 30 feet off to 40 feet off from where you get to be,
Right.
or where hopefully get to be again soon. But
Right.
the opportunity to do that right now, and it's so much even cooler because my son Sam's a ball kid.
Right.
So he's, I think, 8 feet away from the action. I'm about
Right.
20 feet. So I get to enjoy seeing my son get to enjoy literally just a dream event. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm watching him out there. He rebounds much like Charles Barkley swings a golf club. He's got a hitch in his rebounding. It's there. I think it's going to probably stay there, but I get to watch him rebound and talk to Joker and Gary Harris. When these guys see him, it's not just a cursory, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah.
He's developing friendships with these guys. The other night we had Minnesota in town. There's 2 guys who are on Minnesota who really friended Sam, and he was so happy.
Wancho and Malik.
Absolutely, he was
Yeah.
so happy to see those guys, and you could tell they were genuinely happy to see him. And here's a little 18-year-old who couldn't get attention at his high school, unless he did something utterly horrible. And now he's friends with these guys. And all of this comes down to my going to Springsteen in '88 and
Yeah.
saying, "How do I get your job?" And
Yeah.
not sucking horribly at it.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, getting promoted to the point where, yeah, I'm one of, I think in the arena right now, there's three staff on the floor. And to be able to be there, it's an honor, and to be able to watch the basketball games. I mean, I'm basically watching the basketball games inside the bubble, and I
Yeah.
get to go to work.
So, Mike, I'll ask you this question, and this is, I think I know the answer. I'll ask you, would you do that job if you weren't getting paid?
Yeah, if they made me wear Borat's swimsuit thong thing, I would do that.
Well, then I wouldn't go to the game. So that's a different conversation. So yeah, and that's my whole point, right? Is, there's I'm in this hobby for reasons, and there's money to some of it, but some of it's because I friggin' love it. I have a real job and I have work I have to do every day, and it's all consuming. There's days where I got nothing I can do but work and go to sleep thinking about it and wake up with my teeth ground down thinking about it. But the hobby is out there. The interesting part is your work is my hobby, and my hobby is your hobby, and that is going to the Nuggets and sports and concerts. We both share that interest. I'm blessed to be able to afford to go to the things I want to go to, but you went the long game and said, hell with that. I'm going to get paid to go to these things. And of course you've got the pain in the ass parts of it, but you get to do it. You get to take these experiences. You have experiences that people would give their one of their legs for. So I think it's something to be proud of. And I always find it curious when certain people want to bash you because you do that, like you have to do it. That's what I love, because you have to do it, otherwise you can't make ends meet. And I'm pretty sure there's times where it helps, but that ain't the reason.
Well, I hope those guys, those same gentlemen, are able to drive their Teslas over to the Phoenix Arena and get inside and watch the Suns play these days. I can only imagine that that's the case.
Yeah, I'm sure if they offer a Rolex to them, they'll let them in. So that's how that works.
Fair enough.
So it's great. So thanks for sharing, Mike. We're back from the holidays. Everybody, if you like the podcast and the YouTube vid, please like it, share it, subscribe to us. We appreciate that. It's wonderful. I get all the feedback. I've had people hitting me since the holidays started. Hey, when's the next show? When's the next show? When's the next show? Well, we got families, and we got Mike's got work, and I've got work, and we got through that. So we'll be back on the regular cadence here, and we'll have guests. But we appreciate everybody coming and listening to us and looking at our faces. My always shorn face and Mike's never shorn face. So we're a nice contrast. So we appreciate everybody listening, and thank you for joining us in the card shop.